Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv, and here is today's news. Um, Looking at it, I was reading a few articles today, and one of them is about Morgan Stanley's Andrew Peel, and he's warning that there could be a shift away from the dollar over to digital assets. I've been saying this for a while. BRICS makes me stop and think about what they have going on, but the dominance of the US dollar around the world, that threat comes from digital assets. I'm not talking about CBDCs, I'm talking about cryptos, straight up. And the reason why is because I think people are going to try to move away from CBDCs in a major fashion. I think people and businesses don't really want you to know what they're spending their money on. They don't necessarily want you to know who they're giving their money to, where that money is traversing. So they're thinking, yeah, maybe not so much. So that's a very big deal. And I don't think too many people are actually paying attention to that particular dynamic. And Andrew Peel's like, yeah, we could definitely see dollars dominance dropping, not because of that, but because of digital assets. BRICS, yeah, they get a lot of hype, they get a lot of talk, but you're talking about a lot of weak countries. One or two of the countries are strong, but China's not strong anymore. Their economy is hurting. Russia's economy definitely not strong. The only one who's strong, what? Saudi Arabia, India, maybe. You have too many countries involved in BRICS whose economies are not necessarily doing well. Um, does it still pose a threat? Of course, it still poses a threat to the dominance of the U.S. dollar. That said, you have a lot of people running around the world talking about how can I use my crypto, not just invest in, but use my crypto, and I think that's going to grow. Then in other big news, you have Terraform Labs file in Do Kwon filing for bankruptcy in Delaware. That is huge. That's very much huge. Seeking bankruptcy protection. That's kind of a big deal. So that's going to involve TerraUSD, right, and LUNA token. So I'm sitting back and I'm just wondering, how is that all going to play out, right? Just do they owe any money? Like, just what is it? So I haven't read the bankruptcy filing yet, but it's something I'm actually interested in doing. Skim through, get the bullet points. Um, Now, certain experts, Michael Pop, I forget who else was there. I was reading an article. What is it? Decrypt or something like that. One of the magazines that I read, and they were talking about how basically, when I look at all of them, they're all predicting Bitcoin to hit six figures this year. I didn't read any place where they're not expecting six figures this year. A couple went on to say, hey, look, listen, we think soon after the halving event, you're going to see Bitcoin hit above 50. I can see that. I can definitely see that. You're less than 3 months out for that event. I can definitely see that. So what are you talking, like April, May time frame that you would hit that? Yeah, I could agree to that. And then once you have that happen, now I think all handcuffs are off, and you can see Bitcoin rise precipitously toward that six-figure number. Does it hit by the end of the year? Yeah, I really do think it hits by the end of the year, but I think it's going to hit way later in the year, as you're going to see just more transactions happening, more integration, more adoption, and then you're also going to see that carry-on effect with altcoins. Now you know why I keep digging in on do your own research with regard to altcoins. Some coins are going to outperform others, whether they be real coins or meme coins, right? That's what I'm paying attention to. That's how I'm digging in, because I'm like, if this is my timing, then what if? Basically, just a decision tree analysis. If this happens, then what else? Then what else do I think happens? What's the combination of events that could happen that can make a particular coin go up? Anything transactional, anything sitting on the transaction side of things. Bitcoin, I don't think is going to be, don't get me wrong, it will be used for transactions. But will it be used for everyday transactions? I don't think so. I think it's going to be used as collateral. I think that's its biggest use. Of course, it can be used for other things, but I think it's going to grow. That particular use case is going to grow almost exponentially. In that case, you're looking at Solana, Polygon, and other coins, Cardano, that are going to be more transaction based, right? More everyday transaction based. Then you have the institutional investors also going after Solana, XRP, some even looking at XLM. But XLM, Stellar, is more toward retail movement of funds, right? Not institutional. That's kind of the space of, XRP, and seemingly so Cardano. Solana. So those are things I'm paying attention to. Now, somebody who's a little bit late to the game is going to be Gemini, because I'm sitting back and going, everybody else is kind of, running with XRP, and Gemini's just hinting at it. Just hinting at it. So it's kind of like, what are you doing? Where have you been? We missed you at the party. Just saying, I'm not picking on them, just saying that it seems a little late to the game. And I think Gemini needs to make a move. And the reason why they need to make a move is because they were kicked out of New York, right? So they need to get back in the news with something positive. The news surrounding Gemini has been mostly negative. So yes, they got approved over in, France recently, or EU recently. But in the United States, where they're based, yeah, you need some positive movement, because everything that happened with Genesis and DCG Group, that's all negative. We need to see something positive out of Genesis. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Gemini. We'll see how that goes. And XRP could be a way for them to start getting back in the mainstream news, right? Maybe I'll even cover them more. We'll see what happens. Then you have ProShares BITO, right? That's their Bitcoin fund. It's a futures, right? Not a spot. They've been seeing less trading volume. I'm sitting back and I'm kind of going, yeah, because everybody's not interested. Now that the spot ETFs are out, nobody's interested in futures. Not nobody, but very few are interested in futures. Kathy Wood was yanking out her money, or ARK Invest money, to go put in their own Bitcoin spot ETF. So that was a lot of negative movement. That's a lot of outflow. Who else is having a lot of outflow? Well, obviously Grayscale is having a lot of outflow, because their trust, like I said, people were locked up, couldn't do anything. Now that they're unlocked, they could do stuff. They're taking their profit and then doing other things with their money. However, the rest of that pack are seeing massive inflow. So I think the outflows were like 500 million and change for Grayscale, but there was 600 million and change inflow, for the other Bitcoin spot ETFs. So it kind of cancels out. Now, it's not to say that all that money from Grayscale went over here. That's not what happened. Maybe a bit of it, but not a huge chunk. That's not the way it works. It's just pointing out that the numbers outweigh on one side. So I think Grayscale is going to have to go, and I said it the other day, Grayscale is going to have to go back to, the drawing board and kind of say to themselves, are we going to, keep this crazy high fee, especially after all these outflows? And it looks like they're trying to, win back some of that money or win in new money, because they've been bombarding New York, which is where I'm from, just totally bombarding New York with ads. I can't turn on CNBC and not see an ad for Grayscale. It's impossible. Impossible. They've just been bombarding, even radio ads. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay. All right. Whereas, other platforms, take a BlackRock, Fidelity, they've got assets under management. They're selling to existing people. Hey, do you want to put more money in on this? We're managing your money over here for this stuff. Do you want to put some more money in on this? And it worked, right? They're going up while Grayscale is on a decline. That's massive. So those are big news events that have happened this week. What we should do is get into the numbers. That's what we should do. Let's move over and take a look at that. Let me pull this. There you go. So let me just refresh the screen for you guys, because it hasn't been done in like 10, 15 minutes. Oh, there you go. All right. So top losers. This whole list is down. So Ordi's down. Not something I'm paying attention to, but at 58, you kind of got to pay attention to it. $1.2 billion asset in market cap. Yeah, you got to pay attention to that. Blur is down 8%. Ordi was down 8%. BitTorrent is down 8%. Celestia, something I am paying attention to, down 8%. Terra Classic, yeah, told you they're gonna take a hit. Bonk, you see that big swing? That's 8%. That's 8% in the other direction. So I am paying attention to that. Pith Network, new one that's kind of making it onto my research list. Another Oracle that I told you about, small Oracle, but they're over 500 million. So I am kind of paying attention to it. They're in that sub-billion-dollar range that I kind of like to spot other things. So they're down a little bit, but for them, because they're a new Oracle, yes, Chainlink is still the biggest and they're the baddest and they're my favorite. However, Pith Network coming on, I'm kind of like, I like the competition. I like what they're doing. The speed is good. They've got a lot. Obviously, they have a long way to go, but I kind of like that, so I'm paying attention to it. But they're down 9% right now. Is that a buying opportunity? Highly possible. Xi Network, all about gaming. I think gaming is going to be the place to be. So Xi Network being down 10%, I'm paying attention to that. That's one that I'm kind of like, that's a buying opportunity. Chili's is down 11%. Pocket Network down 10%. Those are big numbers. Psy, another big one, another big name that's out there, 12% down. Dog with Hat. I told you about Dog with Hat. It's a freaking meme coin, and it's going to bounce around, and that's when it's going to get dangerous. Do I think it can go back up from here? Highly possible it can go back up from here. But right now, that's a 22% shave that people took. Would I get in at this number? Take a couple $100 and get in at this number if I didn't have other things to do? Maybe. I think it's got a little bit more legs to go before it just totally, kind of, fizzles out. Sort of like, where's Pepe? Just saying. On this side, yeah, you don't have that many winners. You stop right there with winners. That new one, Myro, that everybody's talking about, don't know why. It's sub 500 million. Not something I'm interested in playing with, but it's up 6%. Not a big move, but there's nobody else here that I'm paying attention to that's doing anything. You're happy when you see zeros. But that says that these are the only ones out of the top 250 coins that I'm paying attention to that have moved, done anything. All right, then you have, let's see. This seems to be another week of regional banks coming out with their numbers. But I'd be paying attention today, in terms of today, right? 61 places are coming out with their numbers, but a lot of them are regional banks. I would be paying attention. The only reason why I say so is because they're a little bit closer to the people than the big international and national banks. And these numbers could mean a lot with regard to how are people actually living. Just saying. You have quarterly GDP reports coming out on Thursday. With anything going on today, jack, right? You have some economic indicators coming out, the U.S. leading economic indicators. Okay, cool. Not huge today. Fear and greed index, we were at 56 yesterday. We're at 55 today. Barely in the greed section. You could see we took a little dip very close to neutral. DeFi Llama, we're still at 75 billion, 75.5 billion. Still not bad. Still, we kind of hit a point. We're kind of maintaining that range right there. We'll talk about ranges in a little bit as well. Like right here, you can see we're outside of that that yellow band that I have between 41,416 and 44,741. Do I think we're gonna stay here that long right now? Not this time. I really don't think so. I think we're gonna wind up bouncing back up and getting back between this range. But if you look. This is how far right there, that 4252 number is something we should be paying attention to. That seems to be what the floor could be, right? When you look across and you see the point here and the point there. I prefer to have 3 points, but sometimes you just have the 2. But that seems to be the floor right there. That seems to be the floor. So paying attention to that, see if we fall beneath that floor. I told you, if we fall beneath that floor, I'm looking at like 38, 39,000. That's just me. That's what I'm looking at. On the bigger board, you can see everybody's in the red. Nobody's doing well. Solana's well below, that $100 mark that we love so much. It's at $87. Now, do I know that all of these coins are going to go up? No, but I'm incredibly helpful. Right? So, but I am thinking that Solana can shoot back up. So at 87,000 to go, I mean, at $87 and change, can it go over 100? Obviously, it can go over 100. As Bitcoin rises, all ships are going to rise. And that's when I say, that's when you need to start paying attention to who's doing what and what the percentage growth potential is. How far away from their all-time highs are they as Bitcoin goes up? Right? Because Bitcoin's going to shoot and then it's going to pull everybody with it. And when that pull comes, I think it's going to wind up being a slingshot. Right? That's kind of what I'm seeing. And then here you go with the rest of it. If you just want to look at the list, again, I'm paying attention to who's doing what in the year to date, because we're still in January, and then what's going on thereafter, right? 24 hour, 7-day, that kind of thing. So I can see like what's the trend, what that space is right now. Bitcoin is down 4% on the year, and Ethereum's still up. It's one of the few that's still up. Chainlink is still up. That's kind of cool, but not even Solana is up. They're flashing down. Lido is up more than everybody except for Arbitrum, and I'm kind of like, wow, ooh. I don't pay attention to Maker because I don't touch Maker. I just kind of look at it and keep it on the list just to see what's going on with it. But I don't actually play with Maker. A star, I keep telling you. Morgan hit me off with a star, and I'm still looking at him. He hit me off with a couple others. I did some research, and I'm not really into those. But a star has news behind it, has action behind it. That's why I'm paying attention to it. Anyway, that's Eddie J on crypto. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, drop me a note. Tell me hello. Tell me something. If you don't like what I'm doing, tell me how I can improve for your experience. But as always, hit me off on growmybag.tv. Have a good one. Bye-bye.